And welcome to this live stream, everybody. How you doing today? Hope you're doing fantastic. So, what I'm doing here is going through this classical drawing book. It's called the Ultimate Bard Collection, but basically, this was originally a course on drawing, and I guess this company compiled it into just one big book. And basically, what I'm doing is I'm going through all of it, studying all of it, but I'm doing it with oil pastels. So just doing it a little differently because times have changed so much. Times have changed so much that I think it's worth it to not only do these drawings, but to try doing them in different ways. This book. This book was actually made around a time when people, artists were not really. It was in a historical time of art when people weren't really motivated or um, expected to express themselves, to share a part of themselves. It was more so like, hey, this is the way it's done. This is how you should do it. And that's an old style of thinking in art, academic teaching of art, and a lot of that has changed now. But um, there's more than one ways to do things, and I think this is one way to explore traditional or classical ways of drawing, or the classical style of drawing, classical aesthetic, while also putting a different spin on it. So that's what I'm working on, and I hope you're all working on something exciting too. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So I was working earlier on one of the eyes on the other page. So let's go ahead and dive into another eye, shall we? So we're going to start like right here. And we're going to go like so. And ultimately what we're working on is just capturing forms and shapes and overall just proportions. That's where I think the biggest takeaway from Charles Bargue's course is keeping an eye on proportions and things like that. So we're gonna go like this, and that's a little too sharp, but we'll go like that. So there we go, and if we come straight down from there, right around there, we're gonna have a little mark like so. And for those of you just tuning in, again, this is all, I'm just doing a traditional drawing course by Charles Bargue, the drawing course. This is a reprinted book of his original course. I don't know how accurate it is, but it does have a lot of the plates based on some of the research that I've done. So basically, it doesn't tell you anything, but it does have all of these exercises that are supposed to be very helpful. And what I'm doing is I am taking the time to study them, but with oil pastel. So I won't be able to get as much of the fine detail, but I did want to play with some oil pastels. So that's what I'm doing here. And one of the biggest things that I've taken away so far is this idea of constantly seeking out lines, proportions, how close things are matching. And that's a great way to learn. I think it's a great way to learn. So that one was a little too big, but it's okay. We can fix that. And now one thing about this course is that it did come around in a time when art wasn't really like an expressive medium the same way it is today, right? Like today, pretty much anything can hypothetically be art, right? But back then, if you went to an art school, an academic art school, you were trained a certain way to work a certain way, and that was that. So there wasn't as much like leeway as far as expression goes. But anyway, I think this is a little too wide, but that's okay. We'll go like that. And fortunately, I'm working with a oil pastels, and we're going to be painting into that. We're going to be pasteling into this. So fortunately, there's a lot of room for adjusting, fixing, and stuff like that. So here we go. We got this, and we're going to go right around here. Let's see. And that's a little too wide, so I see. There you go. That's something a little bit more accurate. And let's get this eye detail right here. So for those of you tuning in, this isn't necessarily a tutorial on how to draw, more so just like, hey, you know, check this out. This is a cool book to learn drawing from. Here's what I'm doing. And I hope that somewhere along the way it is helpful in some way to help you discover an idea, a way of doing something, a way of learning something, and that's that. So let's see. So I will share more about this book in a moment, but let me finish this eye first. So real quick, I'll share a quick look in this book, right? One great thing that it does is, this is the eye that I'm working on right now. So here you go. This is the eye right now, and as you can see, you know, just very simple lines, but where it really helps is these two intersecting lines, or just two lines that are intersecting, and you basically just have to match up a lot of the lines and the pieces, and through all of this, you kind of start to learn about how the eyes are drawn. And this is just page one. I'm still only on page one, and what I'm doing that's a little bit extra credit, if you call it that, is I'm personally, individually going into each of these and just drawing, or using oil pastel to paint them. So fun little plan. One thing that I love about this that works so great with oil pastel is that you can see these lines are actually pretty thick. These pencil lines are drawn pretty thick, so you know, I'm not losing too much as far as I just noticed something that was very different, so I wanted to fix that up. So I'm not really, like, you know, the difference in the line width isn't too much, which is great, because if you're trying to draw like really small, like super small eyes, like a really tiny eye, oil pastels just won't work, right? Like if you're trying to draw like an eye like this big, if you're trying to draw an eye like this big, you know, like it just doesn't work out, right? Like you can't get those fine details. I mean, you can, but you're gonna miss out on a lot of things. So yeah, okay, so I see someone's been chatting, but I haven't been noticing it, haven't been popping up. What's up, Amir? It makes you happy knowing that someone still uses books for learning. It also looks realistic. Thank you, Amir. Welcome back. I've got a new new project that I'm working on over these next, I don't know how long, weeks, months, years, however much time this takes. But what I'm doing right now is trying to not smell my neighbor's cigarette smoke, but that's impossible. So trying to breathe normally. And here we go. So using oil pastel to paint in these spaces. So let's go ahead and use a pink with this. The one thing I don't like about these oil pastels is, like, once the wrapper comes off, once you take off this wrapper, the wrapper, it's a very like sticky material. The oil pastel is very sticky, and that might not always be fun to work with. But as far as as far as like being able to like quickly draw and create something interesting that kind of has color and looks nice, I think oil pastels are definitely one of the ways to go. And I think this area is going to be some mix of of these colors. So we're going to go like so. And let's drop this one down and bring in this other purple we just had. So how's it going, Amir? Haven't heard. How are you? Hope you're doing fantastic. So anyway, we're gonna go. We're gonna blend this pink in as we move the eye closer to this. As we go around this eye, you know, just getting a little bit of the change in lighting with a few different shades of like red purple. But so far, this is a great drawing course. I've had a good time with it. I do think some of the things look a bit unrealistic, but that's okay. And you know, part of it has to do with the way I draw it as well. But these are all based on on drawings of a statues. So because they're based on drawings of statues, it doesn't have the same, it looks a way it does for a reason. So here we go. Okay, so you say you're on break. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Amir. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for tuning in. You are the best viewer. Any live person, it would be very glad to have you as one of their viewers. So let's go like this. And we're going to go like that. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. Let's say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe a little bit further. And then we're going to go around. And then we're going to go around the front. What I love about these are just like little subtle angle changes. So subtle little angle changes that you can see. That can be a little rounder, but that's okay. And this, we're going to come up a little bit. There we go. I'm finding that I make my eye, the area outside of the eye, a little bit too wide. So now I'm experimenting with trying to, or not trying, but actually doing, we're just getting this area a bit thinner. This area right here between the eye and the socket and everything. So that's what I'm working on right now. So Amir, since you're on break, you mean you're taking your own break, or you taking your own break, or are you like on a vacation from school? So here we go. We're gonna go like this. Bring this around, and then, well, I mean, I appreciate that you know, you think I deserve more viewers, but I think it goes both ways, right? Like being a good streamer, and then being a good person that supports live streaming. Can't have one without the other, right? You gotta have both. So anyway, we're just gonna go around and then close this gap right around there. And let's see, we're gonna do a little gap closure right there. That's the first one. Ooh, so there's 2 lines here. Trying to think of how I want to do this. I think we could extend it just a little bit further. That's the one thing about oil pastels is they are thick. But I think it's like a good width that's similar to a pencil. It's just not as precise as the pencil because there's so many ways that it can get unflattened or lose its like shape. So you really just gotta figure it out. Let's see. So this might be a little too wide, but we can figure that out. Let's go with this eye, and we're gonna go around and then curve up. And I just love being able to see how these eyes come together after you've been after you like when you're doing it, you know, you're kind of like, oh, well, is this gonna work? Part of you is almost doubting, like, is this really how you do it? Is it that easy? Just these couple of lines will make a face, and it's hard to believe. But once you start getting there, once you reach the point, it totally works. So that is one cool thing about art is if you trust the process and you know you're actually making an effort to do the process correctly, you will find a way. You will eventually find that whatever you're going for worked out. So that's the one great thing I love about art is, you know, trusting yourself. It really is a process of of not necessarily just believing in yourself, but like trusting that what you see and what you're putting down, as long as you know you truly feel that what you're seeing, what you're putting down is what you're seeing, as far as like somewhat realistic art goes, it will come together. Everything just comes together. It is a very creative process. And art really is truly like magic, you know, when you're working on a piece, and you know, you're just a few lines in, and or maybe a lot of lines in, and it's not looking good, or and you're just wondering, is this ever gonna look right? And then suddenly one day, one moment, it just comes together. Just comes together like magic. And this one, I don't know if you could see, but it's very oily. You can see it like shining in the light here. So, by the way, Amir, how do you like this? So, you like oil pastels without wrapper? Really? Yeah, they feel weird. Maybe it's just this specific brand because it's very oily. I could actually feel the oil coming through. And I feel like it's because I left it in the heat for a little while. That's the one thing about oil pastels is if you leave them in the heat, of course, I think that they melt. But how do you like this new format? I've got the horizontal format going as opposed to the vertical. So feel free to share your feedback on that. Would be glad to get your feedback on this. And the other thing about oil pastels is they can get kind of messy. Like, you know, you'll paint in draw in a certain area, and it kind of just blends some of the surrounding area. But on one hand, it's like messy, and when it happens and you don't want it to happen, it kind of sucks. But I think a lot of the times, most of the time, I think it looks pretty good actually. I am actually happy when you can use the lines that you made to blend in some of the areas, some of the mistakes that you've they look like mistakes, but they actually, I think they add like, you know, a good amount of character to what your to your artwork. So the real question becomes, how do you do it in a way that is very purposeful, right? Or maybe it doesn't have to be purposeful. Maybe it is a beautiful, not a mistake, but a beautiful accident. As Bob Ross always said, no such things as a mistake, only happy accidents. He is one of the best people to quote, in my opinion, for artwork. You know what? We're gonna mix this in. I think that this is an eye that's the left eye. So the nose needs to be around here, which means if we're gonna have the light coming down, then this side needs to be a bit darker. So we're just gonna add like a couple little details that help to define this thing a little better. That help to define our figure a little better. Actually, let's add some black eyebrows. That looks kind of funny, but there's some funny eyebrows. Yeah, you know, I noticed when I started seriously getting into art, I did notice that a lot of people did not don't recommend Bob Ross, but you know what? Those people just don't understand. I mean, everyone is obviously entitled to an opinion, but at the same time, I feel like Bob Ross is like without Bob Ross, I feel like art would not. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to go for, but I feel like without Bob Ross, art wouldn't be the same today. Not because, you know, he truly created a movement or anything, but I think he's inspired a lot of people. Okay, including myself. Like, you know, who else had, you know, in the 90s or 80s, whenever he was doing stuff, who else could you go to if you wanted to watch or learn painting in the middle of an afternoon after school, right? Like, there's no way. There was nobody else. You can't just call up your teacher and be like, "Hey, can you teach me how to draw? Can you give me an hour-long painting lesson?" On No, there just was no opportunity for that. So right now I'm thinking of how long I need this other eye for. So for those of you just tuning in, I am working on this drawing course right here. This is called the Ultimate Bargue Collection, and it is a book by Charles Bargue. You can actually find it. It's public domain, which means it's been it's been long enough that you can find it for free somewhere online, public domain. I just decided to buy this book copy because I like physical books. But I did see that there was a way you could actually find it for free. I don't know where, but I don't know if it's translated either because I think the book was originally written in French. So I'm gonna move this over a little bit so I get a better view, and let's get the angle, get the right length. This is a long eye coming sideways. So we're gonna go. It might be a little too angular, but that's okay. We're gonna go with this. And we're gonna go. It's about half the length, so. So the original name of the book, I think, is called Cours des Dessins, Drawings, Course for Drawing, Course of Drawing. In French, though, is French words. So I would go just look up Charles Bargue. So Charles Bargue, that's Charles Bargue, and then look up his original book course. And I think it's online. You should be able to find it online somewhere. As like, yeah, I know that I was able to find it a free version, not a pirated version, but like a version that was free because it is a public domain work, which means it can actually be reproduced with no no restriction or whatever. I think. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I'm not positive that it is public domain. I think that that's what I saw, because usually books over 100 years old. So this was made in the 1800s at some point. Books over 100 years old are usually public domain unless somebody, created their own edit of it. So that's going to go like that, that's going to go like that, and that's going to go like that. So yeah, great drawing book. Highly recommend it. And let's see. So we got this. And let's go from down here. We're going to go. Yeah, it's great. It's a great book so far. And I just love playing with the idea of so I'm trying to mark off where the eye should be. And I should be like right here. So I essentially just have to create a curve, a nice curve. There we go. That's a good little curve. Yeah, archive, yeah, that was the website, archive.org. So so yeah, Internet Archive, archive.org, one of those sites, I think, is where I saw it. And it's amazing. So public domain. And here we go. So we're gonna follow the curve of the eye here. It's gonna end a little further up, and then we're gonna go like that. Follow the eye. Follow the eye. And then we're going to go so there we go. By the way, it's totally worth. This book doesn't have any text in it. It's all just drawings, but it is definitely worth reading up on, some of the reasoning, the way to do all this, and getting an idea of the right way to do this. Now, I'm not doing it the right way. The right way is to actually draw out each of these lines, carefully study every single eye, draw them until you can match it exactly, perfectly. And, that's the right way, but I'm doing it a little differently. Or I guess, I mean, today, modern times, uh, it's like you're not allowed to say there's a right way to do things in art. But with the context of this book, it was written at a time when uh, art was not so open to self-expression and outsider ideas, right? So, in the context of this book, there is a right way and a wrong way to go about this. But for most purposes, um, I just decided that I wanted to do it with oil pastels. So that's what I'm doing. And let's see. This looks like the eye that cat. Oh, all right. So this looks like the cat. So anyway, I keep saying cat. That's my girlfriend's name, but I hear someone outside my door, so I just wondered if it was her. But anyway, let's see. So we're gonna go right into here, and we're gonna go blue. The only thing, I don't like about this is that this is one of the traditional ways of drawing. And I think that it does teach some great concepts. But this is where a lot of people get the sharp line drawings. It doesn't really capture reality as much as it captures the aesthetic, the classical painting or drawing aesthetic with like the sharp, just the clear, there's no like sharp lines or corners on a human face that are like this, maybe in the corner of the eye, but for the most part, there's no sharp edges like these. And I think my opinion is that although beautiful aesthetically, um, it doesn't truly. It does help you to learn to draw people, but I don't think uh, it really does the job of helping you truly capture how people look. Because people are curvy. People have round edges, you know. But somewhere along the way, this does evolve into more advanced things like this, and these, and these. So I guess this is just the start. So I'm not. I guess I should probably stop talking out of my rear end and making stuff up just for the sake of saying stuff on YouTube. I was watching this funny guy on Instagram. He's like a professor at some school. I don't remember his name, but I follow him, and he's always got like funny advice for artists. And one of the artists said, artists should stop trying to like talk about their work, and they should save that for the like gallery curators. And I think that's funny because one day more of my works are going to sell, and a gallery curator is probably going to try to say something about my work. I can only imagine a gallery curator is going to try to say something about my work, but the person who wants to buy the work sees my YouTube video and it says something totally different than what what the gallery curator is trying to say, which I find would be a funny thing, but maybe not. So anyway, that's where I'm at. But let's keep going. I'm gonna lay down some green. Let's make this mostly green. How about that? Let's go with a single shade. And I just love the way oil pastels just work into an artwork. Like, just blends so nicely. So I'm gonna use yellow up here because yellow and blue make greenish. Although these pastels don't blend the same way. There we go. So Amir, by the way, I don't think that's the original, the one on Internet Archive, because I read it, and I think that's a like someone wrote it later on, like all that text was written later on by somebody else, the editor maybe, the editor of the book, but I could be wrong. But yeah, that's one thing about all these is they give us the idea of a human head or human face, but I don't think any of them truly captures. It captures a statue. That's what it. That's what these are based on. You know, these are all based on statue sketches, I believe. But again, later on, you know, they try to get you to start off with these, you know, these sharp ones, so that you eventually can learn how to do these very serious advanced pieces. I think that's very cool. Some of these look computer generated though. I don't understand. I don't know whether these were edited or whether they were actually printed that way. I have to look that up later. But anyway, let's continue. So we're gonna go. We're gonna start from here. Let's draw the first line. What I love about this though is like really trying to find the right angle to do these lines. I think that's a great exercise for many things. Hold on, I'm gonna put this on mute for a second. Okay, and we're back. So here we go. Um, let's go with. See, this one I was distracted, so some of the stuff didn't come out the way I wanted to, but that's okay. We're gonna keep working through with this. Just working on it while trying to chat. And let's go with some red on the inside here. I'm gonna go red. I'm gonna go. Let's do some pink. So hey, Amir, are you gonna did you get an opportunity to go through the book? Is that something that you're gonna study too? Or you're gonna practice with? So using the red to blend in a little bit of this space. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with a yellow. We're gonna stick with this yellow here. We'll stick with the yellow. And let's do something red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. So we're gonna go violet here. We're gonna add some violet. Just to add some shadows. Let's get some shadows on this. It's hard to tell the exact places that the planes change and everything. So I'm not exactly sure where the shadows need to go. Yeah, very cool. And this is an interesting eye. One thing that I noticed that I think is accurate but also interesting to actually see is just how deep the eye sets with like people's eyelids. Eyelids are actually pretty thick that and I never really noticed that until I started drawing. Is, you know, when you look at people from different angles, their eyelids are actually really quite thick. So we're gonna do one more eye on this page. And we're gonna go, it's actually one of the bigger ones, so we're gonna go, I think this is a good location here, so maybe a little longer. Let's get the angle here. You know, I really am curious about how close I got to the measurements and the angles. I'm probably pretty far off, but in a moment here, I will do like a matchup and kind of see where we're at. So let's get another eye right around here, and we're gonna go curve around to the front. There we go. we're actually gonna use a line to define this other space here. And now I need another area. All right, this needs to come down. So we're gonna, not totally horizontal, but almost. So as close to horizontal as we get without also being not horizontal. And this is gonna go past this part actually. Let's see, yeah, it's gonna go past quite a bit. And we're gonna go from here. Nope, too far away. Let's get that a bit closer. And there we have that. And then let's get another, capture the eyelid here. So just talking the way through as we go. And I think this is actually going to end up being a pretty good way to work with oil pastel. Originally, I thought it wouldn't because, you know, because drawing is for drawing and pastel is for pastel. But I think if you can learn to adapt to different ways of doing things, you'll find that you can do things differently. So what color should I do these eyes? Let's go. Yeah, so this one, you can actually find it in my links for this live stream, but I did put a link in there. If you want to check that out, it's an Amazon. And I'm an affiliate on Amazon, so like, if you get anything, I do get a commission off it. Just letting you know ahead of time. Disclaimer there. Or you could just find it on a Google search. Should pop up. But let's see. We're gonna do some yellow eyes on this one. And I really just love how these eyes are like turning out, because these faces, like, they have a very, I don't know if y'all know the artist. His name is Egon Schiele. He's a Austrian artist. Egonschchiele. He's one of my favorite people artists. You know, somebody that paints and draws people. And I would say that he makes some very interesting pieces of people. And I think this is the secret of pretty much how he did it, was he used figures from this book, some of the lessons from this book, and he just painted the eyes different colors. Like, if you go and study some of his work, you'll see what I mean. And here we go. So this is like the under eyelid if you're looking at the eye from the side. So if that's underneath, then that means that this side needs to be brighter if we're going to be looking at it from a certain angle. So here we go. I think this will have the angles too. All right. Hey, well, take care. Take care, Amir. You have a wonderful evening. Good to see you again, sir. And take care. See you around. See you next time. Happy studies. Great to chat. Great to have you in here. All right, so let's match this up and see how well we did. Let's compare some of these sketches and see how closely we matched before we start our next page. So let's see. The first eye, I'm gonna go eye by eye here. First eye. My eye was a little too big. Eyes was a little too big. Yeah, I definitely see things as bigger, but I think I got the overall angles fairly accurately. I think proportionally, you know, it's not bad. So let's see. Eye number 2 would be this one right here. So see how we did there. My eye's a little too up and down wide, so there we go. So this one's a little too up and down. I think what I'm seeing, what I'm noticing is that I exaggerate the up and down lengths a little too much. So here we go. The heights. This one I definitely drew bigger. So I probably did it on purpose, but I wonder if it's at least proportionally accurate. Looks all right. Next one. Got this eye right here, above there. I think proportionally these eyes are pretty good, but you could tell that the angles are a little bit off in some places. Not too bad. Let's see this next one. That's okay. How about this yellow one? The angle looks better on that eye, but definitely the width is a little off at the bottom of the nose. I think I took one of the angles a bit too far. So let's see. Let's go for another study. This one right here. This one at the bottom. Eye's too big, but I think the angle's pretty good. Let's do this one. I definitely made some of the parts of the eye. I definitely could have moved the corner at the top of the eye over a bit more. And I think my eye's a little too angular. So that needs some work. This eye on the right needs some work. And let's see. Let's compare this eye down here on these two eyes on the bottom here. Yep. Or actually, this one's that one. It's not bad. I think this one's a little better as far as the length goes. Got a good length on that initial, eye. Yeah, I think my lengths are getting better with this one, but I still got to work on the overall shapes and where I cut the corners. This one way too small, and it's not even. This one's probably the worst one, the middle one, and this one I don't even know. Like, yeah, I think I'm getting lazy, but you know what? Let's push through this. Let me see something. All right. So here we go. Here we go. Had to go check where my neighbor was smoking. Usually they smoke like right under my door. It's fucking annoying. Excuse my language here. Alright, so anyway, this stream will have to be censored for adults only. But anyway, PG-13, I guess, is what you would have to call it. Alright, so here we go. Next part, we got... Next part, we got another eye here. So we're going to do this one. Now let's check it out. I'm going to go from the top. And... Let's see. Angle and the length. If you can focus on that, you're good. It needs to be a little bigger. There we go. I think the thing that I'm doing wrong is that I keep making it much wider than it needs to be, so I'm trying to find the right combination. Let's find the right combination of lengths. So this needs to be about the same length as that. We're gonna go not bad. This needs to be angled in. Let's think. This is going to be about 1, 2.5 of these. So 2.5 of these. So 1, 2. I probably should just go directly across and try to match it, but I don't want to do that. I want to be able to like just have my eye understand how to do these things. I guess if you take the training wheels off too early, you might develop bad habits. But I like to take the training wheels off early. When I learned how to swim, my parents just tossed me into a pool. So here we go. Yes, that's that. I definitely see that this angle's not in enough, but that's okay. We'll keep working with this. Let's go like this. And we're gonna go come around and bam. And that I can instantly tell it's way too thin. So I want to have this and angle it down a bit further. And we're going to go like this. A little bit of a correction there, but that's okay. And here we go. So we got that eye. And going down here. Let's go like this. So we're gonna get another section. I probably don't need to draw the second line here, but I do have to come around with this eye. Just gonna end like right here. Let's go right there. And we're going to come around, keep bringing this around, thin out the eye a bit, and then come down right there, right there. And this should actually almost be pretty much vertical. So straight up. And we're going to go like this. So this side already looks super weird. Because it's not round enough at the top, but let's keep it going. Let's just push through some of these challenges and this is probably one of the worst eyes yet. I feel like the eyes are getting worse and worse, but we're gonna keep pushing these studies as we go in. And maybe we could fix it during this coloring phase here. Let's do that. Let's see what we can do, what sort of adjustments we can make. This eye needs to be a little bit thicker. This is about right. But it just needs a bit more roundness here. I made the up and down parts a little too round. Or the up and down probably a little too long this time. But that's alright, so we'll keep going. Alright, so let's do this. Throw in some of our gold oil pastel. Our rose gold. And then we're going to go in with, this is a, what do they call this color? Rich gold color. And here we go. So let's just go the ring. Let's go around this with the blue. So I think we'll call it a day after we finish this page. So we're going to do this page, and then we'll call it a day. Let's see what happens if we actually try to keep it around the same height here. Right here. You know what? Maybe these eyes end up having different character, you know? Why not? I've never been one much for precise copying, but I just wanted to see how close I could get as far as sight and visual just estimates. Because it is a muscle you have to train. So let's throw in a gray eye. Shall we? Let's go with a gray eye here. I can't even figure out what part. If this is the inside of the head or the outside of the head or what. Alright, so let's go. I'm going to add some green into this. Let's come up with some expression, you know? Throw in some red here. Really get the most out of these. Get the most out of these oil pastels. Put them to good use. So let's get another eye right here. We're gonna go look at the angle, look at the angle. Should just start at the top here. Look at the angle, look at the angle. It's gonna go right here. I feel like it's a little too long, but that's okay. So if this really come across, like right here. The hardest ones are like the subtle angles that just kind of barely tilt up. Those are the hardest ones. Okay. So this is the eye. Let's go. Wow, this eye is totally off. But you know, we'll just keep going with it. It's okay. So let's do this eye red. Round that eye out a bit. Let's do black. Black and gray. I'm gonna go black and gray. So we're gonna go black, gray, and red. I'm gonna go, this should be the darkest. Let's go with some grays. Grays will go right in here. And then right in here, we're gonna go the darkest blue we got rather than going black. Just because I want to be able to see the differences as far as just see the contrasting differences. All right. So we had something there, and we're on page 3 now. How exciting. My goal is to fill up the rest of this page. But for those of you just tuning in, we're working with a book, very famous art book. This is a reprint. Somebody, some company reprinted this, but this is the Ultimate Bargue Drawing Collection. So Charles Bargue, at one point in history, in the 1800s, I think, created a drawing book that influenced a lot of artists, and that a lot of artists used to study. But it's like a very classic style of drawing. I wouldn't call it modern. Although, you know what? I do think it has some qualities that are quite interesting as far as how he does the classical style. But overall, if you're just looking to learn like anime or If you're looking to learn how to draw like a Korean or a Japanese style artist, you know, the pen and ink Japanese or Korean pen and ink artist, you're not gonna really do that here. Actually, you know what? I don't know. I take that back. I think if you can learn to draw from this, you could probably learn to draw almost anything, but this is a very specific way of drawing people. I don't know why that looks so thin, but it's okay. Let's go up. And it's gonna come around. Always with the wrinkle. Always with an extra wrinkle there. So that's the first eye. And here we go. So continuing on, pushing this all the way up. I'm getting this. Get that right. And then trying to find the right spot to use this pen, to use this pastel so that I can get like a sharp angle. Otherwise it just gets this design here which gets to be too thick. And it's hard to really judge things, but you know, my goal is to have the opportunity to play with pastels more while also upping my drawing skill game. And here we go. For those of you tuning in, if you have any questions, feel free to share. This is an interactive. I consider myself an interactive artist. I came up with that recently. I was like, oh, what would sound different? Oh, you know what I just figured out? So the way I'm supposed to be drawing this is probably on its side, like this. But I've been drawing it at an angle. I don't know if it was purposely done like that so that, you know, you have to learn how to see rather than, you know. But that's interesting though, because I've been trying to draw at an angle this whole time. Because the book printed it that way, but I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be in the book. But there's this one exercise I learned about in this great book called drawing on the left side of the brain, I think, or drawing on the right side of the brain. And it talks about drawing in different ways, like drawing upside down, drawing in a variety of ways. Because what it forces you to do is it forces you to see. So when you're like drawing things in different angles, like if you're drawing like a face front, but the face is turned sideways, helps you to trust what you're seeing rather than what you're thinking something needs to look like. Which really doesn't, you know, or trying to interpret. Which all depends on what you're going for, right? Like as an artist, if you're going for different ways of doing things, you're trying to be different, then here we go. All right, so here we go. Got that eye. Gonna do that eye blue. And let's go around this eye. And let's see, blue would be purple, yellow, green, blue, orange, red, and yellow. So I want to use red and yellow. Let's use red for some of the darker areas and yellow for some of the other spaces. And let's go like this. So here we go. I love this color combination of like yellow and red right here. So I think it's interesting as how as we go further in the book, it's just gonna get more and more finely detailed. And I'm probably gonna have a harder and harder time doing this with oil pastel, but you know, we'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll work through our challenges, if you can call them that. Let's do another one, shall we? So we're gonna go small line that's angled, and then another curved line that's this is almost flat. And then go. Let's go like this. Sometimes I have to do this like 20 times to get the line right. Let's go like this. And here we go. So leave a bit of space. It's gonna end just a bit over here. I need to work on my round shapes better. And this needs to end a little bit sooner. So let's go with a nice deep blue eye here. Sharpen that corner there. We'll go with a nice dark green. And we're going to assume that... Let's go with an orange. We're going to assume that as you get further away from this front area that it gets darker. So that means that this area back here needs to be a darker orange. So we're going to blend that into there. Blend that. I'm going to go with that dark orange, but also nice, like low light yellow. And there we have that. And let's go for another. I don't know if I could fit another one down here. Let's see. Let's actually size this one up. Yeah, no, that's not going to fit. So we're going to start our next one up here. You know what? This definitely helps make it a lot easier. Because then you could just quickly kind of guide your eye around the thing and figure out where pieces need to be rather than eyeing every single thing. See if it's right. feel like I already did this one. Definitely think we're taking a break after this because red, orange. Haven't done an orange eye in a little while. I know I need to take a break usually when I start to get a bit tired. So let's go with the orange or green around the eyes here. So let's push the green into this space. Put a green right there. Green right there. This is so wet. I don't know what it's wet from. Must be just the right temperature to want to be a bit melty, these oil pastels. All right, well, with that, everybody, we're going to call this a finish for today. But as I'm wrapping up, we'll share some words to wrap up with. So I've been thinking a lot about, the things that stop me from trying abstract art. And I think abstract art's so interesting because, the world, there is like no limit to what you could potentially do with abstract art, right? And, it makes me wonder, like, why don't some people do more of it? And I wonder, like, I think some people are just scared to do art that other people will question. That's the fear of people not getting it. And if that's stopping you, I say let it go. Let it go and do it if you want to do abstract work. Or you can do something like this, something that's been tried and proven one way, and then add your own twist to it. Add your own twist to it. So with that, let's see. I still got some stuff to wrap up. So we'll be streaming later on this week, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. But this is going to be an ongoing project, which means we're probably going to go through this whole book, maybe. Got over 100 pages. Let's see. 426 pages worth of drawings to go through. So we'll see. And also what I'm doing is I'm doing this with oil pastels. So this is going to add an extra layer of time and effort. And then maybe one day I'll go back to do it all with something else. But I think this time and effort will be worth it. So those of you that tuned in, thank you so much, and we're gonna be out of here. Have a great day.